The other thing I think that Matthew Quick believes on a fundamental level that we can see reflected in his writing is, I think Matthew Quick would say that people are inherently good. And I base this on all of his characters, his protagonists, of course. We see misfits, we see people that society has thrown out, we see people doing things that society would judge them for, but we're reading the book from their point of view and we're meant to empathize with them. These people have very human emotions, very human motivations, and it often works out well that the reader doesn't judge them for what they're doing. I think Forgive Me Leonard Peacock is the most clear example of this, but Silver Linings Playbook is also a good example, particularly an example of this fundamental belief that I think Matthew Quick has in action. The character Pat Peebles, even the character himself admits that he was a pretty bad husband in the past. One might wonder if he was a lot like his father, just aloof and not spending a lot of time with the family. And then Nikki, instead of doing what Pat's mom did, Nikki dealt with it by finding someone to have an affair with and then getting caught, and then after the divorce and the restraining order and everything, Nikki runs off and marries that other guy. But focusing on Pat again, we have this character that's a mental patient that has done bad things in the past that if you just heard them talked about secondhand, you might have a hard time liking this character. Or at the very least, you might have a hard time saying that you want to hang out with this character. But at the same time, as we gradually get more of Pat's backstory revealed, Pat's use of violence at the football game where that other team's fan pushed his brother, confronted Pat, you would have a hard time finding someone who says that that punch was not justified. And then Pat choking out the guy that was in his house, in his shower, with his wife, you would find a hard time finding someone who says that that wasn't justified, or at the very least that they wouldn't do the same thing, or at the very least that they wouldn't root for someone who did that thing. So we have a complex character,